getting older is something that happens to all of us. From the moment we're born, we are aging. And as a woman who is in my 60s, I know it's important that I remember the small changes and how they can have this big impact on my life. And so those small changes can either highlight I'm on that aging slippery slope, or they can help me. So Sue and I want to explore today this concept or power of a 1% mind shift to replace that traditional thinking about goal setting. Because here's what I know is, if somebody wants to be successful in something, particularly as we're aging, I can say, okay, let's set a goal and let's work through that process. And I get eye rolls. And it's like, oh, no, that's too hard. And I think that's the thing about goals, is they can feel very, very rigid in their approach, and that we want to achieve something. We want to have some level of success in life or feel fulfilled in life. But what happens is that it feels too hard to do. So if we can change this mindset approach that we have to it and think about, okay, 1%, if I can just simply incorporate a 1% change in my daily routine in something that I'm trying to achieve, then that is going to have this massive roll-on effect. Hey, Sue, how you doing today?
I'm good, thanks, and I'm looking forward to talking about the topic.
So have you got anything to add before I go any further?
Yes, okay. I used to be very, when we hear the word goal, if we're younger, obviously we're much more driven. I know I was, and we've got more energy and we've got lots of things going on. We usually have people around us who are the same, have the same sort of focus.
Yes.
And so it is easier then to set goals and to use that term. I think for me, I'm in my mid-60s now, and perhaps the word goal, even for someone, I'm still driven, but I think the word
Yes.
has changed, and I've actually changed my thinking about how I approach that part of my life.
Oh, totally. And I know that I am exactly the same. I think about it more from, what am I going to focus on? And it's part of the approach that we take with our clients at Strong Healthy Women as well too. So each week when they do their check-ins, it's like, okay, what was the win this week? What was your biggest challenge this week? And what's your focus moving into next week? Because when they put that focus down, they're 42% more likely to do it, because they're actually reporting into us and telling us, and they've written it down. And what happens then is you can see that focus having an impact when they're working out or when they're taking care of themselves. So, Kerry, as an example, her focus this week was to focus on her workouts. So she's showing up consistently, but you can see how she's putting in more in that workout. Whereas Robin, who is in her 70s, and her focus was more rest and recovery, because she's a woman who has lots going on. She's involved in Girl Guides and she's always doing things. And she was aware that she needed to take care of herself and do a little bit more resting. And you can see how she's taking that little bit of time. She's not giving up on a workout. She's still doing those, but she's taking the time during the day to recover. And I love that concept of being more focused on something as opposed to just simply, having these very rigid approaches to life.
Yeah, and I think when you said focus, that's such a a better word. I mean, we've changed language. Language has changed over the years,
Oh,
and
yes, it
especially in
has.
our lifetime. And, I think that whilst we say that perhaps goals are quite rigid and that sort of thing, it's not that we want to discourage people from goal
No.
setting, but I think it's having this new mindset, as you say, the 1% mindset, or just a whole way that you view the way you are living and why you're doing things.
Mm,
Because I think that that's important as well. If you think about exercise and the ladies with their workouts, think of it as something that, oh, I have, not rather than, oh, I have to do this.
mm-hmm.
It's, I want to do this because I know that even though I don't feel like it sometimes, the benefits for healthier aging, healthier lifestyle are there. So for me, again, it's looking at the way, the narrative that we use, the words that we use, rather than looking at exercising as a chore, looking at it as just part of your daily life to be able to do all those other things that you want to do.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely,
yeah,
Sue. And the other thing is like just saying like, oh, I'm too old, that's going to put a roadblock in front of you straight away.
yeah,
Whereas if you might be feeling older,
mm,
and you might be struggling with certain things, but if you can flip that narrative, as you said, just that little bit for yourself, and believe that you can do 1%, just a 1% change, then what that's going to do is have a massive impact.
mm,
Because if we make those small incremental changes and then we become very consistent with them, that then has that roll on effect, and we see those continual improvements in life and how we want to live it.
mm, mm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it is all to do, I know you're talking about the 1% mindset, but mindset in general. If you say to yourself, I'm too old, or I can't do that, or
Mm,
I wouldn't be able to do that, or oh no, I couldn't lift a heavier weight, or whatever, you're just putting those barriers in your way, and you're not being able to live life because you start to shrink your world with all these, I can't do this, I'm too old, or, all these opportunities are going to start closing to you because of your mindset.
mm. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that with my mum over the years. I'm too old. I don't want to be here anymore. No, I'm not doing that. It's too hard to do it. And, the list just goes on continually. And you see the decline,
Mm,
that decline in her physical ability. Her
yeah.
mind itself is totally alert,
Mm,
because she keeps herself. She's a reader. She does lots of puzzles and those types of things. So she's very alert with those things. But her body is probably 50 years older than what her mind happens to be.
mm, mm,
And if we can keep our mind younger and watch what we say to ourselves, it does have that roll-on effect to
mm,
that physical aspect as well too, and the emotional and mental aspect as well too, Sue.
mm, mm. Oh, yes. And the other area is, for example, if you're coming back after an illness. Now, a few months ago, I
Mm,
wasn't very well, which was very surprising for me because, I lead a healthy lifestyle. I found out
yeah.
about a condition that's genetic. Now, I could have turned around and said, oh, well, I won't do that anymore just in case, or I won't
Yes, you
do
could
this
have.
anymore just in
Mm,
case. But
yeah.
I just spoke to the doctor and he said, you just do exactly what you've been doing.
Yes.
Now, I think that, again, your mindset's there. It's suddenly saying, oh, well, I felt vulnerable. I felt, oh, I am getting a bit older. And I
Mm,
could have gone down to that, And I could have accepted that and said, well, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm just going to really live a very, what's the word, risk averse life, not try anything.
Not try
And
anything. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that that's another issue as well, that you just, if you haven't been well, you get that mindset of, oh, I don't think I can do it anymore, when in actual fact you can. But you might have to take your time coming back. You're not going to be able to go
Yeah.
from here and then suddenly be running a marathon the next day, or you know, whatever it is. You know, but it's that's where your little 1% comes in, where you take those little steps to getting back to where you were, and not letting that, oh, no, I better not do that anymore. I've got to protect myself. You've got to get rid of that attitude as well.
How do you think women do that, Sue? Get rid of that attitude?
Well, it's not easy.
Mm.
But I think that what you have to do, for example, let's use the illness part.
Yeah.
If you've got the okay from the doctor, if you've had an injury and you've
Yeah.
got the okay from your physio or your other allied health professional, what is stopping you from doing it? You know, they've given you the okay. So I think the first thing is you get the okay to start doing things again. And then if it is an injury or an illness, the doctor or the allied health professional will give you a little program to follow.
Yeah.
And then you can talk to people like us and say, okay, I'm coming to work out, but here is the information from my allied health professional.
Yeah.
This is what I have to be careful of. This is what I can't do. And then we can come up with something where they're getting back into their workout routine, but with confidence, and helping to build their confidence. So I think another thing is reaching out to people like us to say, hey, you know, I'm coming back from this. I'm feeling a bit vulnerable. I'm not sure I can do it. And we would then be the encouraging side and helping them, you know, get back to where they were, and then helping them build their self-confidence again, because that's all it is, really.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're asking for help, aren't we? We're asking,
Yeah.
I need some level of accountability. I need some support with this. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how good we are, we all need somebody, or, you know, a group of people to support us in what we're doing. And the interesting thing is, ultimately, you know, flipping that switch of how we think about things is up to us as well too. So being open to hearing new ideas and being open to making those small changes. So, and I'm thinking about Alice here. Now, she's not 50 or over, which is the ladies that we work with, but she felt like we were the right group for her based on all of the things that are going on with her in life. And she recently reached out and said, you know, doing the group sessions is a real struggle based on the operation, based on this, based on that. I need to do the PT stuff. And so, you know, we said, okay, yep, let's organize that. And the wonderful thing is that I said, we're doing it this week. she said, oh, well, it's school holidays. So she's got 3 kids. They're all at home. And I said, that's okay, no problems. You know, let's work out the best time. So we worked out the best time. The little girl was down for a sleep, but the 2 boys were awake. And all of a sudden I see these little heads popping in, you know, and I said, come on in, boys, you can do this with your mum. And it was like, you're actually showing those boys at this point that it's okay to take care of yourself, and that exercising is an important part of life. And they're learning that at a young age now. So that in itself is changing the mindset of a young person as well too, which is wonderful. But the great thing is, and at the end of it, I said, okay, boys, I've got a thing for you. I need you to do this. I need you to ask your mum, has she done the exercises each day? And she said, lo and behold, these kids every single day. And she said she worked out every day because the kids were keeping her honest and accountable.
Mm.
Now,
Mm.
that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because there are just so many aspects of that were amazing. And you could do the same thing with your grandkids if you're looking after grandkids, couldn't you, Sue?
Oh, of course, of course. And, I think it's important to show them that, you are a role model to them. So if you're going to try and be fit and active, they are going to see that as part of a lifestyle rather than something they should be doing and a chore. And I think that, I think in particular, grandparents are very, can have a very profound effect on the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we should take that for granted either, because we spend time with them, and usually we're not the parents. So, they might be a little bit more amenable to what we're telling them and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very much so. But I think that's a great story about Alice and her kids, because, now she's going to be saying, well, I'm going to do it, and they're encouraging me to do it, and that's what you need.
What she also said this morning, after this morning session, was, with work, she does 2 different jobs, and the kids, she said, getting in a workout every day is a bit of a struggle. She said, if I did 3 to 4, would that matter? She said, because I'm thinking that maybe I could do one exercise when there are other things going on in life. And I said, this is perfect. This is part of this change in the mindset. It's also this thing called mini movements that we always talk about as well too, Sue. So, she's going to get the structured exercise in, but when the little girl's having a bath and she's, playing in the bath afterwards, she said, I can be doing those moves, just there in the bathroom. I can be doing those exercises, just one. And I said, that's perfect, because you're getting more movement into your day. And that's what we all need to do, because if you think about it, Mother Nature has a way of causing lots of problems for us as we're getting older, because it naturally tells us we need to slow down, yet it is the time when we need to speed up. Because if we continue to slow down, then what's going to happen is when we hit those 80s and 90s, we're not going to be able to do the things that we want to do.
That's right. And I think the other thing too is, like, I was sitting there the other day, and I've pretty much retired, really. So, at 66, I'm retired. But then I thought, there's still people working full time, and they're getting up, they're going to work, they're coming home, they've only got the weekends off. It's easy to fall into that habit of becoming older because you're not doing things. And, just whereas if you say, well, gosh, there are people in my age group that are still going to work full time, that's what I should be thinking about, rather than saying, oh, I'll just sit here and ease into the day, which I quite like doing some days. But other days I like to get up and go for my walk, and I think that makes me wake up and feel a bit better. But, I think you can, again, it comes back to mindset. And the 1% that you're talking about, where you look at something and it can become overwhelming. If you just think about that little 1%, it makes it so much more manageable, and you can build on your successes then. And then that's where you really start to achieve things.
Yeah, that's right. And really, when we talk about 1% mindset, we're actually saying, what is that 1% thing that you can do? What is that action that you can take? And so what you're doing is you're taking that great big thing that feels totally overwhelming, and you're breaking it down into that smaller chunk. And so you're just looking for windows of time that are going to work for you and your life.
Mm, mm. And I think that's the key, your life, the way your life is. Everybody has different challenges in their life. Everybody has different things happening. And so one size doesn't fit all. But we shouldn't use that as an excuse either. We've got to try and work out, as you say, little ways it's going to help us stay healthy, because if we don't stay healthy and fit, we're really not going to be helpful to those around us who may need us from time to time, like you with your mum and Paul. And, you know, my husband has health issues as well. If I don't try to keep myself healthy,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be there, you know, helping the rest of the family when I can, because I, you know, just wouldn't be able to do it. So I think that you've got to think about, you know, like this morning I thought about you. I put the kettle on and I thought, oh, there's that kitchen workout that Pete has.
Yeah.
So I was just on the bench doing some push-ups while the kettle was boiling. And I thought, well,
Yeah.
there you go, done those. And it's surprising, because then you think, oh, okay, well, I've done those. I've got time for something else. Or you might say, that's all I've got time for, but at least I know I've done that. So I think those little mini movements through the day are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next aspect of that, Sue, is to then be consistent with it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So every time the kettle boils, you do the push-ups.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah.
Or
So
whatever exercise it is.
whatever it is, you know, you
Yeah.
might do some squats, or you might, I don't know, whatever you're doing, rather than just standing there waiting for the kettle to boil, you could be just taking advantage of that movement
And
and
yeah, sorry.
no, that's right.
No, and I was going to say that it's a bit like interest, you know, that we get, you know, that compound effect. Because when we're doing those small changes, they do add up, and we do see that level of improvement in that aspect of life.
Yeah. And I've seen it in the ladies, you know, the ones that come consistently, 3 sessions a week, and, you know, and sometimes they don't have the self-confidence, and we say, come on, let's try a heavier weight, or come on, let's go from the intermediate level to the advanced level, and they surprise themselves that they can do that. And I've noticed with Veronica, she's had a few little issues since she started, but one, she gets in there and does it and gives it her everything. But also I've noticed with her having the PT sessions, when she comes to the group classes, her technique and the little idiosyncrasies of her body and the way it works, you know, you're working on those in the PT. So when she comes to the session, her technique's improved. She's doing the exercises correctly. She's getting the benefit out of it. She's not going to hurt herself.
And the biggest change in Veronica is the fact that she is 110% girl. You know, she would go a bull at a gate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas now she has a lot more body awareness, how she's moving. She's got that mind to body connection happening. It's just fantastic to see. And she's always highlighting different things. She goes, oh, when we're in a PT, I can feel it there. That's right. That's the right spot, right? And I go, yeah, that's the right spot. So she's definitely in tune with her body and what's going on. And that's been a you know, it's taken a little while to get there, to actually change that mindset for her, that you don't have to do everything as quickly. You can actually move slower and still get the same impact. But, you know, I'm not actually saying that she shouldn't do the fast stuff too. She should definitely do the fast stuff. But I'm going to tell you this, Sue, because I haven't actually spoken to you since the PT session this morning. She actually said to me, I went out and got those 8 kilos this week on the weekend. So I'm now ready to start using the 16. And she said, I walked around from the shopping centre holding them like you told me. I was doing the farmer's walk. I was doing the carry. And she said at one point there, I thought, holy smokes, these things are heavy. I don't know what I'm going to be using them for.
Mm.
So yeah, and again, that's those small incremental changes in her mindset and in what she's doing to get the results that she wants to get.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's really the last month I think has really shown that improvement, and she's got the confidence now to say I'm going to go and buy 8 kilo weights, and I'm
No,
going to have a go at that. So that's great.
yeah, I was thinking about it, like, sometimes we have ladies who start and it's all about, the weight on the scale, I want to lose weight. Whereas I will just say to them, okay, let's see how much water you need and let's focus on water. We're just going to do water. Just that.
Mm.
That's the only change. So that's, again, that small change. And it does. It rehydrates the body, the skin feels better. And it actually helps, flush out the body, and so there's a lot of benefits to just focusing on water. Or maybe the focus might be, I'm just going to be consistent with eating my breakfast, as an example.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It doesn't have to be insurmountable.
No.
It just one little tweak, and then once you've mastered that, you keep going and then add another little tweak, and you'll find that over a few months, your whole mindset and habits and everything have changed because of
Yeah.
those little steps, rather than, oh, I'm going to do this, and this, and then get to the end of the week and go, oh, I only managed that. I didn't do very well. And then you beat yourself up, and, it's that vicious cycle. So it's sort of
Yeah.
taking the pressure off, but still having a focus.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Sue. Anything you want to wrap up with?
No, I think we've covered it all. Just make sure to ask someone for help if you need it.
Yeah, exactly. I think what's important is to remember that a 1% mind shift change is not a guarantee of success. What it is it's a shift and a strategy that helps you make these gradual, lasting improvements in your life.
Mm.
And that's where you actually see the benefits.
Mm. Yeah, and making them part of your lifestyle, where you don't think, oh, I have to do it. It's just, you just do it because
You
it's
just
part of
do it.
life. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for joining me, Sue.
My pleasure.
Thanks for joining us, ladies. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.